Always play ball, never AWOL. Oh, they mad now, cause they lost. That's on you, not on me. Lately my phone on D&D. I try to get to get some peace, that's all I need. I try to get to get some peace, that's all I need. My phone right back on D&D. It's like only rest if RIP. I got my wife, I got my kids. Probably got a few friends that I don't need. Not fake, never been fraud. Been great, still a little flawed. Always need sign when they call. Order up a
Good
drink while I'm
afternoon,
sitting
everyone.
at the bar.
I am here with our host, Cashma B. I am your co-host, Andre Lancaster. We have our lovely panel today, and I want to say to everyone, let's talk. We are here to talk. We're here to talk. We have a wonderful conversation to have today. I don't know if it's as wonderful after as it is before, but I know once you live through it and you have an opportunity to see that there is life after hurt, whether it be love or hurt, blindness, we have a wonderful conversation today because everyone here has some experience in some sort of love or hurt. If you're alive, you've loved, and if you're alive, you've experienced some hurt in some sort of way. So listen, we're getting ready to get right into it. Let me introduce our host to everyone. Here it is, Cashma B.
Thank you, Andre, for that lovely introduction. I am your host, Cashma B. Let's talk. I'm your host, and I'm so happy to come to you one more time by the way of media, television, and all major social media network. And thank you for tuning in and for you watching and listening to Let's Talk. We have a very interesting subject on today's topic about the things that going on in day-to-day life. And our topic on today will be love blind and earth blind. Somebody said, what in the world is that? But before we go into our topic, I want to acknowledge our guests, our panel on today. We have beside me to my left, my beautiful wife, Aisha Bryan.
Lady B.
And the panel. And we have a very close friend and sister, Claudia Hayle. We do thank you for coming out and joining with us on today, and such a lovely and interesting story to tell about love blind and hate blind. You know, somebody says to me, what in the world? I never heard of such a thing.
Hurt blind. Yeah, you can be hurt and blind at the same time.
Hurt blind and love blind. But see, this is a topic that a lot of people overlook, and it's happening every day of our life.
Yes, sir.
Love blind. Love blind.
Hurt blind.
Hurt blind. Now, what is love blind? Somebody say, what is love blind? I know we all heard that story, we all hear that saying all the time. Somebody said, love blind. Love blind. I don't know if you heard that on several occasions when people use it to justify their abuse and mistreating in such a way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we ready for our first question?
I hand over to my co-host. It's a question.
Our first question.
Yes.
Let's see. How about Sister Claudia, right? Our first question is, what does it mean to be love blind in a relationship? And how do we know when our emotional attachment is becoming unhealthy? Boy, that question is loaded.
I know.
How do you know when our emotional attachment is becoming unhealthy? Man, I can see this is going to be a mighty interesting conversation right here. Share that with us.
When you make excuses and cover up for the abuse because you really love that person and you know they're doing you wrong, but you accept it because your love is so strong for them, you'd rather go ahead on and take the abuse and be mistreated, but you lie to everybody else. Oh no, he didn't hit me. Oh no, he didn't break my arm. Oh no, I'm in the hospital because something I done wrong. It's not him. So that's in denial.
Wow. Very interesting. Yes. When you cover up something that hurting you and refuse to come face to face with your abuser, then you try to tell me it's because you love the person, you don't want them to go to jail, you don't want them to get the fair penalty of their action. That is not love. No. The Bible said, who the Lord love, he do what?
Chasing.
He chase. So if you love someone and they do wrong, you're supposed to be able to see the wrong that they have done and call them out on it. Am I right?
Absolutely correct.
If you don't call them out on the wrong that they have done, then you are strengthening them in their wrong.
Enabling. You're an enabler at that time. And the idea of someone using hurt or pain as a form of love is truly narcissistic behavior. Anytime you find people who will use abuse or manipulation to describe their love or to show their love, that is a person that, one or two things, either they've never learned what healthy love looks like or they don't care.
Well, but what is love? That's another thing. What is love? I mean, that one would be living in abuse and said, it's because I love him or because I love her, to the point where the person, you know, I said that some time ago, you could live in, sleeping with your enemy, saying that he love you or you love him. What is love?
But then they wake up out of their sleep and punch you in the face because they had a bad dream. That ain't love. That's a mental health issue. Somebody crazy around. I don't mean that. Sorry, sponsors. We don't really mean crazy. There is a mental health issue. And for some reason, there are many people who believe right now that in the younger generation, in the Generation Z, if you're not willing to fight me rather than leave me or lose me, you don't really love me. I don't want you to love me that much where you feel like you got to fight me in order to make me believe that you love me. You want me to know you love me? Go in the kitchen, fry some chicken, make some cornbread, put some fries in the oven. You know, you want me to show me some love? Go in there and heat that stove. I got a pile of laundry in the closet right now. I could use some love. Somebody come by and wash the laundry. That ain't love if you punch me in my face. That's not love. You got a mental health issue. Good God.
Anger issue.
Anger mental
issue.
health. Listen, if you think that punching me in my face is love, you're beyond angry. You're mentally deranged. You need a doctor that's got some pills and a textbook to help you understand why you function this way. And I'm hoping that my sister is okay with this. My sister was in a relationship with a young man, and their whole thing was fighting each other. If you don't love me, you'll fight for me if you love me. No, I'll fight for you, but I'm not going to fight with you to show you the love that I have for you. I need to love myself enough to walk away from something that's volatile.
I heard that before. If you love me, fight for me.
Yeah. Go fight him. Don't fight me for loving me.
If you love me, fight for me. It's a bag of garbage.
Yeah.
And the problem is, why would someone allow themselves to tolerate such a behavior in the name of love? So that's where the love blind comes in, because if you weren't blind, you would able to see what is happening to you, and you would take all necessary approach to stop it.
If you can see it. But blindness, because of your love, won't allow you to see the abuse or the mistreatment, because some people are in a situation where they don't have any place else to go. They don't have any family close by. They're in a strange land, and they're with this person who brought them here in the name of love. And the only reason that they brought them here is because they wanted somebody to control. They wanted some subservient individual. They want somebody to be their servant. And I'm telling you, real servitude is not at the force of hand. Servitude is an act of love. But you can't be so in love that you're blind to the reality that as much as Jesus allowed himself to be abused, there is a real reality that his abuse was for someone who could not pay a price. None of us could have handled the abuse that he took. So the reason he took it was so that we would not have to suffer the kind of abuse that he did. Although we will spiritually, but God don't want you walking around letting somebody lump you upside your head. He wore the thorn of crown so we don't have to. He took the stripes so we don't have to. He took the beating so we didn't have to. You don't have to be beaten or abused to be loved or to love.
Well, see, that was a good analogy, but we need to understand that Jesus, he loved us, but he weren't blind.
No, he wasn't blind
to our sin. He knew that we were in sin. He knew we were born in sin and shaping in iniquity. He weren't blind to.
That's right.
And so he came for a purpose. And the reason and his purpose why he came to die for our sin, because there was no human, no animal, no blood that was good enough.
That's right.
To shed in our place.
He came to pay a price.
He came to pay a price
that we could not pay ourselves.
But you shouldn't stay in an abusive relationship in the name of love, claiming that this person loves you or you love that person. You are totally blind. Right. Literally blind. What is blind? Your mind is blind to the abuse, in the sense of somebody hurting you so bad, and you denying the very hurt that you are receiving from that person. That's just. I'm trying to find the right word.
Well, I'm getting ready to give you
to
the
describe.
Definition. This is the definition of blind.
Beside delusion.
Yeah, this is the definition of blind from the Webster's Dictionary. Webster's Dictionary says blind, unable to see because of injury, disease, or congenital condition. Number 2 says lacking perception, awareness, or discernment. Lacking perception, awareness, or discernment. Unable to perceive, unable to discern, without awareness. It is an unconscious state that allows you or doesn't allow you to see what's right in front of you. That is what blindness is. And there's nothing about love that is unconscious or without vision. Love sees and love covers. Love deals with in a fashion that says, I know that you need help, but I love you enough to be a part of the solution and not the problem. I'm not going to let you use your blindness. I'm not going to let you make me blind, because we both need awareness of what's taking place right now.
And that is true, because The scripture said, if the blind lead the blind,
They fall in the hole.
they're both going into the ditch.
Yes, sir.
So if I'm blind to what you are doing to me, and you are blind because you can see
What you doing to me?
what you're doing to me,
Right.
then both of you going in,
We bound for a pit, Doc.
then everybody going in the pit.
Everybody.
So somebody got to able to see what is happening. You know what I'm saying? And when you see, don't be afraid to speak out on it.
See something, say something.
Say something.
You see something? Say
Don't
something.
hold your breath. A lot of time people say, I don't want to say nothing because I don't want to hurt his feeling. Hurt is feeling.
Yeah. Hurt feelings is less painful than a black eye.
Well, he hurting your feeling. He hurting your feeling.
Yeah,
So
man.
why you don't want to hurt his feeling? You don't want to, oh, you afraid of him to leave?
If he ain't hurting your feelings, he hurting your face. That's the one for sure.
You don't want him to leave because if you say something, you're gonna get. Oh, if I call the police, they're gonna lock him up. Well, are we gonna learn something that he need to keep his hand to himself?
And there are people who are worried about the person inflicting the hurt more than they're worried about the hurt that's being inflicted upon them. They're more concerned about the condition of the person that's hurting them than themselves. How can you possibly think that not addressing being hurt because of love blindness is going to cause you some kind of complication? You need to understand the only way that you can resolve an issue is first, it has to be acknowledged. That is 90% of the problem being solved is acknowledging that there is a problem that needs solving. And anytime somebody is okay with hurting you in the name of love, anytime you're okay with being hurt in the name of love, not one person, but both people need help. Both
Definitely.
people need help.
Do we need to take a break?
Well, it looks like we got a few sponsors that want to share something. So, hey, let's get ready and hear a word from our sponsors. And we'll be right back right here with Let's Talk. Back, ladies and gentlemen, this is Let's Talk, and we are here with our host, Cashma B.
Yes.
We have our wonderful panel, Sister Claudia, First Lady, Lady B, Cashma B's wonderful wife. I am here, your co-host, Andre Lancaster, and we are back with Let's Talk Live. We are here again, and right now we are moving on to our second question, and our second question will be to Lady B. What are some red flags people tend to ignore when they're emotionally blinded by love? This is a good question. I'm getting ready to get me some tea and some toast. What are the red flags? Oh my goodness. Red flags people tend to ignore when they're emotionally. Oh yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
'Cause you can have mine.
All righty then. Now, what are some red flags?
What are some of the red flags
Uh-huh.
that people tend to ignore when they're emotionally blinded by love? You in love,
Okay.
you see the red flags, but you're ignoring them. Tell us about it. What do you do?
Okay. People see red flags and they don't even notice. They don't recognize the fact that they are emotionally blind. Now, being emotionally blind is everything is evident, but nothing is prominent.
That's good right there.
Okay?
You can tell she the bishop wife. She got the words together, Doc. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but take for example, there was this woman who was emotionally abused physically, mentally, in every way. And her husband, she was so in love with him. She was blind to everything that she was going through.
Wow.
And it was hard for her to let go of him because she was so blind.
My goodness.
Okay? Now, in order for you to let go and move on, the first love is God's love. When your mind is open
Yeah.
to His understanding, to know that He loves us, His love is conditional love. Okay? Now, like you said earlier on, He gave His life on the cross for us, right? It was conditional, right? He was blind to all the wrongs that we would be doing. He wasn't blind. He knew what we would do. But even though He knew, He still sacrificed His life for us because that's love. That's God's love.
So you're saying the first red flag is the recognizing love when you see it.
Recognizing love.
That's a good one. Recognizing
see
love
it.
when you see it. She's saying that's the first red flag is being able to recognize love when you see it.
Well,
Because if you don't know love, how can you recognize it?
well, see, that's exactly.
Yeah, like right back to the question you just said a few minutes ago. What is love really?
What number one, you have to define what is love,
Exactly, because love is different.
and not too many people can define the true nature of what love really is.
That's true.
And like today, world we're living in, somebody don't know you and just said, "Man, I love you." Saw you for the first time, saw a woman for the first time, saw a man for the first time, and said, "Man, I just love you." You ever heard about loving first sight?
The devil is a liar. The devil is a liar.
Loving first sight. Is there any such thing?
Bishop, I'm gonna have to successfully decline from that being the truth, because let me tell you, I have seen some beautiful women in my life. I've seen men that's willing to give them all their money and go all overboard to be with. I need to know who your mom and daddy was. I need to go home and see who answered the door, because let me tell you something. If you take a person home that's crazy, it's somebody at the house gonna answer the door, they crazy too. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying it's generally something that's hereditary. There are hurt people usually hurt people. Usually people who are not successful at love were never loved successfully. And one of the most important things that need to be discerned or determined is, what is love really to you? And that's what First Lady was saying. When you cannot recognize that this is not love, you walking into it blind.
Well, how can you recognize something you don't know?
That's the point that I'm making. If you walk into this and you don't and cannot discern what love is, or you don't have a true foundation of love, if you have never been presented with real love, if you've never been taught what real love is, if you came from a home that was broken and didn't have an opportunity to see what healthy love relationships look like, you will not be able to be successful in love, because you don't have adequate information to be able to make a determination.
My wife, I got my kids, probably got a few friends that I don't need, not fake, never been fraud. Been great, still a little flawed. Always need sign when they call. Order up a drink while I'm sitting at the bar. Like, I need a strong tail, Nico make two. Honey Jack with a little bit of juice. CYA throwing up the dose. I'm all in.